And the way I understand it, if this passes, all the electeds are up for re-election immediately, right?
No.
Well, not immediately, but the next general.
That's only if we're reorganizing and coming either non-August or something else, we wouldn't be reorganizing.
The ones that are up this year would be up this year. We did it this year.
Yeah.
The only person that would, if the mayor is still in place when we restructure, then he would join the council for the remainder of his original term.
Yeah. And position 6, 7, then would drop off whichever the most number is.
Would be probably position 8 or position 7. So there's already 7 on there.
Yeah.
But
if
we would...
the mayor becomes a member of the council, then he would occupy one of the 7 seats.
No. We would have, well, to look at, I'll look at it again, but if he joins, that would leave us, unfortunately, at an even structure, you know, we'd have 8 council members. But what I read didn't say anything about us requiring to have a 9th position, you know, but he's only going to would serve until the end of his term. He can't stay as a council member after that. You know, you go back to the original 7 count. That's what I read.
Well, that's how Black Diamond had their structure. Because at the end of the mayor's original term, that position would cease to exist.
Correct.
And
That's RCW.
In this, under 35A, 06, number 6, it says if a city with a mayor council plan of government is reorganized with a council manager plan of government, the mayor serves as a council member for the remainder of his or her term.
Yeah.
which section is that again?
It's number 6, effective date of reorganization. It's the second to the last sentence on number 6. And then the one above it on number 5, the last sentence says the ballot title and the statement of the proposition are to be prepared by the city attorney.
Yep.
So RCW 29A, which is the election code, states that when you put a ballot measure on, you have to have a pro and con statement, and you have to find somebody to write the pro and somebody to write the con. And submit their names to the election supervisor, and then they work with them to get the pro and con statement for the voter pamphlet.
Yeah, 7 is not applicable. 35A.2.050 would not be applicable.
There's more to this.
Yeah.
I know there is.
I remember I sent quite a bit of information out. Unfortunately, I don't have access to it. Let me go back to it.
Do you know, we tried this a while ago, do you know when? We tried to do this years ago.
Oh, I don't know when you guys tried to do that.
Around 2000 or 2000, somewhere between 2000 and 2002. Who was the mayor? Erickson. That's why we tried it.
2000 to 2002. I can look to see if there's
Do I read that correctly, and that there's 2 ways to do that, either a resolution or a petition?
Correct.
We did petition.
No.
It could be
The petition requires
10% of the people that voted.
in the last election.
Right.
So that would be 60 people?
It'd be about 100 and some people.
Oh, that's right, I'm sorry. then we had to fight the council to get it on the ballot.
If we can get it on the April ballot, if we pass a resolution by February 25th.
But I don't think we're gonna get done with what we're talking about, restructuring, you know? So,
Which would be quicker.
well, there's the option, I mean, some of us have talked about it, going to that, you know, the other concern, like Trent has brought up, is if we're not prepared, you know, so what do we do, what's the impact? If, you know, we push this fast track, gets on April ballot, it passes, and, that gives us what, a month? March, April month, so 45 days. 45 days.
Well, if you,
So, anyway, if, just an FYI, in the meeting, we've been allowing up to a point, and I guess we need to decide as a committee, do we want to have the interaction with the citizens of the committee? Because normally committees don't have interaction with people that come to the president as it is.
Well, I think the more input we get from citizens, then the better we'll be able to make a decision.
Right?
I'm fine with it.
Okay, I just wanted to make sure, so.
that's fine, I understand.
I think the risk of not being prepared though now is it fails. Because people are gonna ask, how are you gonna pay for this new position? And if we don't have a solid answer, you need to be able to answer all the questions. And right now, we can't. And I'd hate to see it rush to get on the ballot to solve a short-term problem.
Do you have a neighborhood of how much it would cost for this position?
My initial guess is $100,000 a year. But that's, I mean, that's not based off of anything. But knowing that some of our department heads are close to that,
Not anymore.
well, not anymore, but before, they were pretty close to that, so.
Well, how much will you be saving in lawsuits and deductibles?
Legal fees.
And legal fees?
Well, and the other thing, so we would save with legal fees, although we're always gonna have attorney fees.
But not to the extent they are now.
Well, theoretically, hopefully.
Right now, we're about, what, 150,000 over budget on the attorney fee?
Well, it's a new year,
Yeah, that's for a year.
so, I mean, we budgeted quite a bit more for this year, I don't remember what it is off the top of my head.
You mentioned it 90.
90 for this year, it was supposed to be 35, I think, for last year. The other thing is, my understanding is the manager position can come out of several budgets.
Yeah.
So it can come out of stormwater, I mean, because it's gonna manage all those positions.
Exactly.
So that kind of lessens the cost of the general fund a little bit, although the general fund's still gonna take a hit. But I think we need to look at, if you're proposing making our department heads managers instead of directors, what does that look like? I mean, we need to talk to the attorney or talk
That
about
would chop off $15,000 to $20,000 just on the title.
Well, but keep in mind that some of the department heads that were hired recently are making below what they were budgeted for in previous years. So, and I don't know exact figures, but I know that the public works director position was posted, I want to say $10,000 less than what it was originally budgeted for in 2011. So those positions technically are being
So,
paid.
what we need, I'm saying here, and it's one of the things we also need to get then is what are we paying our positions present?
And what's the market value?
We need to pull up the comps on AWC or MRSC, pull up some comparables.
What did you say the deadline date was?
March 8th for the April ballot. And then it's what?
And then you can pull it off, is that not correct?
I don't think we have council support for it.
With the plan we have in place right now, which is this packet,
Mm-hmm.
I don't think we could, council would pass it. Because I think they have the same concerns. I can't speak for anybody else, but I would guess that they have similar concerns to what I have, is how are we gonna pay for it?
Well, what I'm saying is, if the council were to pass it, you would have from the time that you pass it till, what, the middle of,
45 days.
well, what I was asking was, if you get it on the ballot, can you pull it off before an election?
I think there's a time period, but I don't know.
We're already on the short end of the stick on that one, I think.
Well, I guess from a staff perspective is that it's not whether we can pull it off, it's whether we would be allowed to pull it off. We don't work for the council, we work for the mayor. And where our time is spent.
Well, the
is
mayor's
based
not-
on-
You're talking about you.
But the
I'm
mayor's not
talking
for this
about-
anyway, so,
Well,
you,
let's-
go ahead.
But what I'm saying is, the council, while we're willing to work with the council staff is, we still work for him, and he gets to dictate our workload. And if he says, you're not doing this, we're not doing this. Does that make sense? So, it's not that we couldn't get it done, it's a matter of would we be allowed to get it done.
Could I ask a question? I'd like to know a little bit more about how this works.
Council management?
Yeah, because if I look at it, you're going to still elect a council, but you will not elect a mayor.
There will
So
be-
essentially, you have only one form of government, and the city council is going to dictate to us, the community, as to how things are going. We have no difference. And that's why I was coming here tonight hoping that I would find out how
Yeah.
this works.
Under the present form, city council sets policy for the city. It's the mayor's responsibility to administer that policy.
Yeah, that part I understand, but this
Well,
new
that's
part,
not
I have no
happening
idea.
Because they have their own agenda oftentimes and go off in a different direction. The council would still set the policy for the city. The manager then would administer that policy, but he would be hired by the city council, and if he didn't do his job, city council would have the ability to fire him with 30 days' notice.
And so therefore, you've eliminated one level of government that can bounce back and forth. And I'm not saying that I'm in favor of what we're doing, don't misunderstand me. But I'm trying to understand.
Yes, you're eliminating the mayor form of government.
And so you're coming back and you're saying, you, the city council, are going to tell us what to do. We have no other form of asking questions.
The council still has the same, under this, the new form of government, the council would have the same role. The only difference is, rather than the citizens directly electing the administrator of the city, the council hires that person.
And
But
so
the
there's
council
no executive.
still can't interfere with the running of the city. So for example, let's say, am I going to say something wrong?
No, I was just gonna interject if I may. The mayor would still be the liaison between the council and the manager. So in effect, while the mayor is a figurehead, they would work closely with the administrator or to the manager to make sure things are being met on the council side of things.
Well, but who's the mayor?
The
That
mayor
would
is
be,
a council member.
it would be one of the council, the council could decide to appoint from within their own 7 members, or give the option to the community, if I heard you guys correct, no?
That's an option.
That's an
That's what the
option.
form does.
To elect a mayor, but they would just be a figurehead with limited administrative
They would
authority.
have no administrative
Do you elect them? Where does the mayor come from?
It's like the Queen, they have no job except for to
Kissing babies and going.
figurehead and go to the parade and represent at.
Yeah, but they were not elected by the people. So we've lost our ability to have any sort of control.
You had no control. First off, it's a misnomer. You're thinking that through the mayor you have control? How does the citizens have control?
We elect the mayor.
You elected him, but how do you have control?
Exactly.
That's.
Well, unfortunately, the way it's working
So what
now.
you have is, you have the, I'm going to finish this. I'm going to let my flow go, all right? You elect council members to organize and structure what needs to be done in the city. You elect the mayor to do what needs to be done in the city, all right? But you have no control over either body, other than coming to them and asking for, you know, your concerns and your complaints. But you don't have no control. The only control you have is to not reelect them.
Well, that's the only control we have over any of it.
The
Or
council, you re-elect half the council every 2 years.
But
So if you got a council you don't like, when 2 years comes up, you get rid of half of them.
But, yeah, you have changed your structure of your form of government.
Can I ask a question? Right now, as it stands, we've got council over here, we've got mayor over here. You guys are not able to come together and reach any kind of an agreement. Is that correct? I mean, this is the way that I
mayor-
see
The
it.
mayor is consistently failing to
The mayor
carry
is
out
not.
city policy as set by the council. He has
Right.
his own agenda, and yeah.
Okay, so we eliminate the role of mayor. For all intents and purposes, he's just to sit there and be a figurehead. So does that mean that anything the council so chooses and votes upon, that's it? We don't have the mayor to,
So the way, the council still has the same role.
okay?
It's now up to the manager to administer the policy. So
Right.
right now.
But if you
we-
don't like what the manager's doing, you say, you know what, hire those 3 police officers in 30 days, you're out of here.
But, so in that case, the manager, fictional manager, doesn't hire him,
Mm-hmm.
that's not doing his job. It's
Exactly.
either malfeasance or misfeasance, I can't. But if it's council has set this policy and the manager is not administering the policy as we intended, it's up to us to clean up the policy, but it's up to the administration to administer that policy how they see fit. So it's the same as how it is right now. We set the policy, and it's up to the mayor to interpret the policy and to administer it. So under this new form of government, that would be the manager's role. The only difference is the council could vote to fire the manager.
So it gives the council a better power over the city.
It does.
To
Well,
see more efficient things are done.
yes.
Yeah.
But the other thing, the benefit to the citizens is you have continuity of government. So right now, every 4 years, there's a possibility for a new mayor and you're
Right.
starting over.
Right?
Or the situation we're in now, a mayor's elected and you can see how difficult it is to remove a mayor if the citizens so choose. With this, you have a city manager that doesn't go with the whims of the people, you know? So
Right.
you have that long-term stability, which is what we used to have with our department heads.
And they're professional.
You have
And it's a
stability.
professional person that the council's vetted, interviewed. There's a reason there's a price tag that goes with that, it's because it's a professional person. So, and it's not like, I mean, if you've ever tried to get 7 council members to agree on a lot of things,
Exactly.
it's not like it's the whim of the council to just fire this person, because likely there's going to be a contract, and if they're not in violation of the contract, or it's malfeasance, misfeasance, or anything else, you can't just fire him without a financial penalty. You're going to pay severance, 2-month severance or whatever. So if they didn't hire police officers, then yeah, you're fired right now, versus you're fired, we're going to pay you a 6-month severance.
And
There's one other difference, in that the council can direct department heads to fill vacancies already budgeted for, rather than have the city manager do it. The council can direct the department heads.
The
Well,
department heads
no.
report to the manager.
It's still reporting to the
Yeah,
manager.
just like
The
right now.
manager can give authority to the directors, just like the
The-
mayor
yeah,
can
the
give
council
authority.
can give authority to the
Well,
to
the other,
department heads.
the other primary difference between a manager mayor form of government is you have a professional manager who is not political. It's not their job to be political. It's the mayor and the council's job to still be the political body of the city. It's just their job to be professional
And
and
enforce the laws that
administer.
they're passed.
Yes.
Another question is, with your department heads, I know you're still missing some, correct? Okay. The ones that you do have now, you're going to go to them and go, look, this is what we want to do. How many do you think are willingly going to take a cut in pay?
Well, we haven't made that decision yet, but if we change the form of government and change the pay, and job description of those positions. And the government, the citizens voted in.
Can we afford to have more vacancies in the city?
Well, I don't think you're gonna have a situation where people are gonna flee, but that will be the responsibility of the city to have those positions filled.
Right.
I don't see long-term vacancies, if that's what you're looking.
So the vacancies we have now are
Right.
still because he's not doing what he's supposed to be doing?
Right.
There's no department head vacancies right now.
There's not.
The Public Works Director is filled on an acting basis.
It is,
That's the gentleman that he
Yeah.
hired after you guys said, no, he's not qualified?
that is.
To be the
I
double
still don't
position.
understand
Huh?
that.
You had a two-position vacancy, Public Works Director / Community Development Director, and you only filled half of that position.
We haven't filled any.
He is doing,
He's the acting public works and community.
I know, but I
Development.
don't understand if he's already proven not to have the qualifications, how he got in, but that's another.
He's not got in, he's not getting paid for that position. The mayor has chosen to designate him the acting.
So he's volunteering for his services?
No,
Paid 10%
Anyway, we're off the
class.
position.
he gets 10% additional for out of class pay
For the
for the hours
that
he
he
puts in as acting director. But he's still a union
Is
position.
there a contract on it?
That's the union contract.
It's in
Anyway,
the-
so that's another job,
Right.
go back to it.
Sorry.
You're talking about.
As far as taking a cut in pay in 2009,
they did.
we had to cut back. So, we reduced across the board our payroll and the department heads were willing to pay. I think they took a 10% cut there. And, then the police department gave up their paid holidays and the public works and financial,
So they've already given quite a bit.
yeah, well, they're back to the regular schedule now. But they were willing to take a cut in pay to keep the city going in 2009.
Everything's subject to negotiation, right? And, so that's, I think, one of the concerns that Trent has as far as us moving too quickly, is that we want to make sure that we have things in place. So, we can pass a resolution. It could be on the April ballot, but when that vote is passed, will we be prepared to have the restructure ready to go? Will we have the job description? Will we have the org chart? Will we have the salaries? And
I don't think it
all those things in place, and then getting out, what do you call it, when you apply for people, posting for the jobs, things like that, get people in to fill those positions, on and on and on it goes, so.
Can you do that while the mayor is still in power?
We can do anything we want. I mean, that's why we're here having this meeting.
We might not be able to utilize staff to get the job descriptions. We'd have to do the,
We're gonna end up having to do it most of
we're
all
gonna end up
ourselves.
having to do it amongst the council.
Well, I can help you. If you just need, like, transcription or whatnot, I can help you. And I'll volunteer my time.
So,
Well, I think the other thing is, even before getting on the ballot, we keep assuming that once it hits the ballot, it's just gonna pass and we'll go through with it.
Right.
Keep in mind that this has failed once here, Black Diamond, it failed by a huge margin. So I think not only do we need to have a good, solid plan that we can take to council and take to the citizens,
Yeah.
we need to have a good, strong communication plan in place. We're gonna have to have
We need some
public hearings, we're gonna have,
And you're right there, because like I say, there's things that I still don't quite understand as to how it works.
yeah. we can have
And
that
I
discussion.
hope I still get the vote, you see. But I think it's important to have it pretty well down, because there are a lot of people, I talk to a lot of people in the city that don't know what's going
An analogy
on.
would be, the city would become more like corporations, wherein the board of directors, the city council, elects the CEO or hires the CEO, but they're still answerable to the stockholders.
Yeah.
Citizens of our
It's a very good analogy.
And this is how the board, the Valley Regional Fire Authority is set up. The Board of Governance hires an administrator to run the day-to-day operations. It's very similar to how they're structured.
Now, let me ask one more question then. the city manager is going to hire all of the department heads, and they report to him?
That's exactly right.
The department heads are already in place. with the
Well,
exception of
I'm
one.
just wondering how it all works, that he goes out then and hires the people.
He holds the department heads accountable for running their departments.
Okay,
And we can get by with paying a city manager, see, according to RCW, a city manager can be city manager for more than one city. It doesn't have to be a full-time job. He can come in 3 days a week or 2 days a week, ensure that everything's getting done on time, and go to his other city and be manager at another city, and it wouldn't be a conflict of interest.
That cuts.
oh, that's interesting, see, but that's another thing that we didn't know.
That
Because
is
that
an
may-
option.
that has-
That would be
Yeah.
something we have to choose, what form do we want to have,
Yeah,
you know?
so we have the option of hiring a part-time city manager.
Okay,
Right. He doesn't need to micromanage the departments. If you've got good department heads, and they answer directly to him and know that their job's on the line, they're gonna get the job done. They
okay.
don't need to be micromanaged, no. In the military, for instance, I saw our company commander once a month. He'd come up with payroll, and I ran my platoon the way I wanted. We didn't even have a lieutenant, but we got the job done. And, we considered that seagull management. He'd fly in, squawk a lot, dump on everybody, and fly out.
But see, I think that you need to really have all of those answers out for us, the citizenry, to make a decision as to what's best. Now, I wasn't in the city the last time it was voted. I was sitting over there in Pierce County,
Yeah.
and I still sit there, except that now I'm in the city. So I didn't get a chance to get involved in the previous attempt. But I'd like to know what's going on.
The most advantageous part about this type of government is that it provides smooth continuity and stability in city government, as well as efficiency.
And I feel much better about it now that I've talked than I did when I walked in here an hour ago. So I appreciate your taking the time to talk to.
That's what the meeting's about, so we want your input. When we set policy for the city, a lot of ordinance, we have public hearings, we have 2 public hearings, so that we can get input from the citizens. The workshop briefs us on, that's the staff briefing for the council. Then when we go into business meeting, we want input from the citizens before we make up our mind about what we want to do on that, any particular vote. And that's why we have comments on things not on the agenda, and why we open up for comments on each item on the agenda.
Mm-hmm.
So, that's part of the deliberation process.
And like I say, I thank you for letting us participate a little bit.
Can you think of anything else that we, to work on, any other action items that we could take to at least start planning?
No, I think you guys have pretty much, I think if you take a look at these, this information, then I think it'll give you a better idea of what you're looking to do, what you're looking to accomplish, because each of the cities will be slightly different in salaries, in job descriptions, in their responsibilities. You'll see a lot of variances. A lot of it'll be the same, but there'll be variances.
So that way we can kind of take a look at what we want and kind of just pick and choose from the different job descriptions, the different org charts, and come up with a plan.
So, between now and Monday, we'll have a discussion with the full council. Well, the full council won't be here, but we can have a discussion that we've met a couple times, we've discussed it, we're looking at additional information.
I don't know that we're ready to even bring it to the council yet. They formed the committee with the thinking that this is something that we want to do. We're not anywhere close to coming back and reporting. I mean, yeah, we can say we've met.
Well, that's all I'm talking about.
But
I'm not ready to, say we're ready to go. I'm saying, we'll just let them know, keep them informed of where we're at. The other statement I was gonna try to go to is, when do we wanna meet, how many times do we wanna meet, once a week, or are we gonna meet twice a week? How quickly do we need to move this through?
Once a week should be sufficient, but we need to decide who's gonna do what job descriptions amongst the committee here. And, we need to get some input from Patty on comparables. We'll probably look those up ourselves.
Well, I think she's
I'll use some logins at AWC for that. You have to log in to the website. I have a
For the salary
login.
study?
Hmm?
For the salary study?
Mhm.
We get to look stuff on it.
Betty has it.
Yeah, MRSC would be able to give us comps to that as well.
I haven't seen it.
MRSC is gonna tell me to go to AWC. I can get into AWC, that's not a problem. I can get the comps offline, and I can go in and do that. That's not an issue.
Okay.
So, just, I don't know what notes she's got, but I just wanna let you guys know what I put down. And if you wanna look at who does what, and I can send all this out email like I did the other night. But, you know, payment for restructure, what is the structure, job description for city manager, org chart for manager council, salaries, how do we want to select the mayor, mayor pro tem, review city code, determine what changes we'll need, roles and responsibility for the new structured positions, what are our present salaries for our management, full comps, a manager and other positions, develop a draft contract with the city manager, prepare a communications package. That's what I have so far. What, is there anything else that you have?
Yeah.
The roles and responsibilities would fall primarily under the job description. That's what job description is.
But I find job descriptions are more for employment purposes, you know. But do we, and I think it goes hand in foot with, you know, roles and responsibilities.
Yeah.
But generally, see, job descriptions are for employment, with a general statement of what that job will entail, but it doesn't cover everything. I think you need to say, okay, I'm gonna hire this position, and here's the minimum the qualifications for it. But when we hire this person, this is what we expect them to do in that job.
That should be part of the job description, because if I'm interviewing for a job, I want him to know what his requirements are, or her requirements are, and what their roles and responsibilities are. Otherwise, they're applying for a job, they don't know what they're gonna do.
And it's a mix,
Well,
you know.
in the past, the ones we've
We've never seen a
posted,
full.
it includes both. It includes the minimum qualifications, because with the city clerk, it has, there's certain certifications required, there's previous experience required. So that's part of it, but I agree, it's two separate pieces of it.
Yeah, so if you want to figure out who's going to do what, I mean, I can mark this up for assignments, and then I can send it out to us, you know.
Well, the department heads, for the most part, are going to be doing the same thing they're doing now. Only we would change the title.
Well, but the issue is, we don't have a department head for public works, you know, so do you have
But we have a position, we've got a slot there, it's not been filled yet.
for a director, right?
So we make that a manager position rather than director. And human services manager, which is what the hire was supposed to be, because a managerial position requires a lower salary than a director's position.
So, I see a twofold, well, it's almost a three-tiered. Your org chart for manager council, roles and responsibilities for the new structured positions, and job descriptions for the city manager and these new positions, because we're changing them. If they're not, huh?
May I make the suggestion
Sure.
that, at this point, what we focus on is just the job description, roles and responsibilities of a manager. And then after you get the manager figured out, then you can start looking at, I think that's one of the things that you can work with the manager on, to develop and to restructure the department. I really see that more as that person's role than the council's, if I could just make that suggestion. And it would be less cumbersome to go after just the manager information.
And also, if you're looking at a part-time manager, you're gonna want more experienced department heads, you're not gonna want
Yes.
managers. The other thing is, it's not gonna save you as much as you think, because the finance director right now comes out of multiple funds. The public works, community services community development director comes out of multiple funds. So, while you think you're gonna get 10,000 per head, it's not gonna save that much. And the funds that those come out of aren't struggling. I mean, the utility funds are doing okay.
Yeah,
So,
there's a lot of money in the water fund and the other utility fund. So we're only gonna be pulling 25% of that salary out of the general fund. Approximately.
well,
Well, not necessarily. You have to look at how many funds you have. So if you have 4 funds plus the general fund, that's 5 funds. You can split it
Yeah.
5 ways. If you have 2 funds or 3 funds, then you have to decide what that proportionate cost is. How much time are they going to be spending on the water side of things or the utility side of things versus the general fund side of things? My experience is that they spend a majority of their time working with public works and police because those are the most visible and they require a lot of work and attention versus your
Well,
other
public works
departments.
encompasses the water fund, sewer fund, storm sewer, and streets, and then the parks come out of general fund.
So you got 5 funds.
Then you've got the general fund that human services and the police department come out,
As well as the city clerk.
and the city clerk. So they're not going to be micromanaging each department.
No, but they're going to be working on a day-to-day basis
They will,
on
yeah.
certain things. So what my experience has shown me is that a city manager or an administrator is working very closely primarily with their public works department with the director, because they have grants, they have street projects, they have funding needs that are far more cumbersome and time labor intensive than the finance department, for example, or the city clerk. So you find that a majority of their time is spent watching what Public Works is doing and what the projects are doing and what future grant projects you can be working on, what other improvements need to be done, do your utility rates need to go up. I mean, we could just, I could go on. And the police department doesn't really need a lot of management other than just the oversight of, hey, how are things going, what is new. They get very touchy about people telling them what to do. But they do need the oversight to know what's going on. So you're going to have it's almost like it's a 50-50 split would be my guess.
So what pieces, again, do you guys think we should be working on for the next meeting? Job description?
Job description.
And
the
comps?
And comp?
And comp.
Anything else? Organizational?
if we can get, when we're looking at other cities' job descriptions, if we can get their org charts too, just to get an idea.
Yeah.
So who's doing what?
I'll
You
work
said
on-
you didn't get comps out of
I can
AWC?
get the
I'll
comp.
work on job description.
Well, you're doing job descriptions, you might as well do org charts too, because you're probably
Okay.
doing some planning for it, I would guess.
All right.
Start with the city clerk of any of the cities. Start with your city clerk, they should be able to give you that information.
Yep.
And MRSP should be able to tell you what cities are.
I'm gonna look at, I'm just gonna look at some of this other stuff. I mean, I'll look at some of the other options. I don't know what you want me to do, but in available time, I'm gonna just pull some of anything I can find to bring out to the meeting, so.
Now, there, on MRSC's website, there may be some information already out there for manager job descriptions. They do tend to put stuff out there. I don't know how current they are, but they are a good resource to
Yeah,
start
the
with.
RCWs give us a brief outline of what their description is.
Mhm.
We'll have to start with the RCW and work down.
Remember that, one time, several weeks ago, I did send out to everybody a lot of information I did find related to the RWs.
Yeah, I still have that on,
You know.
and that's why I was saying that going through that RCW the city council has the authority to delegate directly to the department heads to fill vacant positions.
Should we look at city code to see what, if anything? I can look at that if you want, or,
It's going to require a change in the city code to allow for the city manager.
Right, you have to add a
But
chapter to
you have to
that.
have the election first before you add that in as a city.
well, we still have to put everything in place,
Yeah.
get the,
Well, here's the way it could work, is you could have the chapter or the ordinance already written.
yeah.
So once the election is certified, or if it's a clear decision, you could probably even adopt it at the next meeting.
Yeah.
You probably wouldn't have to wait for the certification. You'd have to just wait if it was a very, very close call. You could have that ordinance drafted and ready to go, and then it's adopted 5 days after publication, so. And, you know, Code Publishing will have our code updated here, hopefully in the next, by the end of this week, online, so our online code should be up to date through the end of
Okay.
2012.
Do we want to meet next Monday afternoon
Monday's
before
holiday.
workshop?
Monday's holiday.
I'm
Or
traveling
Tuesday afternoon before?
When are you gonna be back in town?
Friday.
Next week? You're gone all next week, but
Yeah.
So council meeting is Tuesday next week?
Yes.
Workshop, actually.
Yeah.
Yes, ma'am.
Would you consider adding in your job description or the intent that the council, that if we go to a city manager form, the manager use a particular management style? I've been in places where the manager's been very dictatorial and it was all authoritarian. If something bad happened, he wasn't tinged by it, but if something good happened, he got all the credit. And that they, like a cooperative style or a team player type style versus the linear autocratic style, and also that there be a minimum of 1 staff meeting a week and reports that flow from the departments to the city manager. So I know this is part of the professional description, but that the council have an intent of about a more stable style of government and one less open to the whims of autocratic or unbalanced people.
There's many different types of managerial styles as there are managers.
But I think what you're saying is, yes, we could, as a council, fine tune, we could bring it down to a finite, but I don't know how much we want to actually, we really should put the generalizations of what the job needs to be doing in the role, but I think ultimately we've got to have some flexibility.
May I suggest that you guys go to Hoffman and Associates and look at, they're a hiring agency, and they put job descriptions together for other cities. It's called Hoffman Associates, Crothman. Thman Associates. They're out of Issaquah. I'm not saying you have to go with them. I'm just saying look at their announcements, their package, the whole meal deal that they put together for other cities to recruit a top-notch leader of your organization. You could go in and just look at if they have anybody open right now. If there's a position open for a city manager anywhere in the state or even down in Oregon, it would give you a really good idea of what that looks like. Because I think what you're asking is what that Crothman Associates could help them see what that is that you're asking. I know exactly what you're saying. I just don't know that we have the skill set to develop something that intricate without going through some training all the way around.
It also, council can't necessarily pass policy that says you will manage this way. I think it's done in the recruitment process and it's done in the interview process.
Mhm.
We can dictate staff meetings or, council requires a report once a week, however you get it is fine, but this is what we require. We can pass that kind of stuff. But as far as the, being a people person or work group, working with teams, I think that'll come out in the interview
And we're working, honestly, staff's working very hard to bring more information and transparency to the council as best as we can. We all understand that need.
I have a question. How does this proposal of a city manager fit in then into the city council when you have a meeting? Is he a member of the council, or is he the same as, say,
He sits
you are?
over on the side, just like the rest of the city staff, and he reports to the council and to the citizens.
He doesn't have any vote, and he doesn't run it or anything like that?
No.
No,
The figurehead mayor would run the meeting.
figurehead mayor presides over the meeting.
Okay, and then the other thing is the length of contract that you would propose to give to an individual like that, when you were hired.
Will plus 30
Huh?
days.
It would be a
Yeah.
professional services contract. They would be at will, just like any other employee.
I know, but I mean, the length of time,
Oh, how many years?
yes.
Yeah, that would be something that they would have to consider. It's anywhere from 2 to 4 years. You could even do I don't know any manager that would take it for less than 2 that's worth their salt, or less than 4 that's worth their salt.
Is there a probationary period?
Yeah, usually.
You can write a probationary period in there, but, you know, again, you're hiring a professional.
Okay.
I don't know.
But yeah, we'll do
I
that.
mean, you don't want to insult them.
On the other hand, we don't want to lock ourselves into a
No.
contract
Exactly.
similar to one that we have with,
Exactly.
yeah.
So, back to the next meeting, you're gonna be gone all next week?
I'm back Friday, I'm available all day Friday.
Are you available, that would be the 22nd, right?
Yep.
22nd of this month, Friday, are you
My
available?
birthday.
Well, you wanna have a meeting on your
It used to
birthday?
be a holiday.
We'll put hats on.
I'll bring you a cupcake.
We'll put hats on and we can sit.
Under $5.
My wife told me to leave the cupcakes alone.
Oh, okay, no cupcakes.
So
How about
anyway,
cookies?
the question's still there, do you wanna meet on your birthday?
Let's meet on my birthday.
So, what time do you guys wanna meet? I mean, I'm available after 1 o'clock.
Well,
He's available all day.
leave early. so
Huh?
I like to leave early on Friday so that I can get out of here.
So, you wanna meet at
Friday's my
1:30?
packet day as well.
1:30 or 2, so, he can get ahead of the
How about
Friday.
Patty, do you have to ask permission from the mayor to attend these?
No.
But you may, I just watched him and Howard walk by, so.
Yeah, we got the Eagle Eye from Howard. That's what I was
But
looking
anyway.
at.
If council asks, I'm here because I'm
We were
interested in
asked.
what's going on, and it does affect what I do. I am the right person to help in a normal government. I would be the one getting all this information.
The mayor can't chastise you for being here,
He can.
and then what do you do, just you can't come to anymore, or whatever he
It depends on what he says.
Does he know you're here right now?
Right now.
He walked
It's on
by?
my calendar. I don't hide what I do.
No, I'm not asking that, I'm just asking, are there repercussions for you being in here?
Who knows?
He's not known to be
I'm sorry, I
the
cannot answer that. I don't
gentlest
know.
person in the world.
I don't know the answer to that one. Until he says something or does something, I have to do what I feel is right and what my job is, and this is my job.
So back to
How
the
we do
20.
3? Does that get you out here early enough?
Yeah, 3 would work.
We can meet earlier.
2 to 3.
Well, the thing is, Friday is my packet day. I have
Yeah.
to have the packet out, and if there's a meeting tomorrow night with,
I'm just trying to think of, so you can go home early.
no, it's okay if I don't make it home early. I just try to beat those 5 o'clock Friday night traffic, because it's like 10 times worse on Friday, so hurry. So
Will 3 give you enough time, both sides?
4 o'clock is giving me enough time, yeah, to get out of here by 4.
Okay.
Yeah.
So 3 o'clock on the 22nd?
And we send an invite.
I promise to send it before the day of.
So I will forward this list to everybody present.
3 o'clock Friday?
Mhm, the 22nd.
22nd.
I'm putting down bring cupcakes. You don't have to have one, but the rest of us will.
Do we need to bring party hats?
Yeah, as long as they're Republican Party hats.
Ooh, I'm not partisan, sorry. I have to be neutral, can't pick sides.
Actually, I'm disappointed in the Republican Party.
I wouldn't know. I really am nonpartisan.
All right, so let me go ahead, I'll send that, and we will meet the next, on the 22nd.
And if we could start looking at the 2013 budget and maybe take this up. then in future budget, just to start getting an idea of other places to trim.
I'm not sure, are you asking me to bring, you may
I've
want.
got my copy,
You know what
so-
you may want at some future meeting, maybe not this next one, but the one after, you may
Oh,
want
yeah,
to,
finance committee meeting tonight, so I'll ask Betty about
it wasn't council.
Pardon?
It wasn't council. You might check with Betty, I think it's council because both Josh and Leanne are in Olympia today.
If you loan, maybe.
Yeah. So I don't think you have a meeting, you might want to check with Betty. You may want to have Betty come, to a future one, and you may want to, whoever's right, are you in charge?
Of what?
Who's the chair of this meeting anyway?
I don't know, I'm just taking notes.
Well, whoever's in charge and whoever would like to send, I would suggest you send an email to Betty asking her to put together once you get like the salary comps and things like that, put together a proposed budget of what that person's city manager would look like, because you have to include, like your office supplies, your copier expense, your portion of those shares, that kind of stuff. And she would have all that information.
So who's the,
I don't chair any other committees, why don't I chair this one?
okay. For some reason,
So
And
I'm
it's a short-term
thinking,
committee.
yeah, and I'm thinking after you guys get the job, the org charts, the comps, those kinds of things that you could probably ask for her to put those together. And then have her come to the meeting and talk about how that position should be funded.
I'm having a problem with my mailing.
Totally down.
All right.
It fails for all the ones you guys send to the city email for some reason.
Oh,
The
well,
virus.
we did have that problem. We had that virus, and it came back today on a couple of systems.
Okay, so it's not taken, I will get it as soon as I can to you, all right?
Thank you.
I'd like to thank everybody for showing up today.
Is there anything us as citizens can do then?
If you want to volunteer to be on the committee either for or against when we get to that point.
Well, we can, but part of the problem is we have day jobs. I work in Bellevue, I don't get off, I got off 10 minutes ago.
Day job?
Well, I left early to come to this. Is there any way, I mean, I know you guys like to have dinner and time with your families and maybe a life.
You haven't met my family.
I feel sorry for your family.
I volunteered for a committee, and we just met together like this in the evening or something, just to
Yeah,
write
that's
the
what
before
I'm
and
saying,
after,
is if
so.
we could have,
You don't have to meet with them, because the pro
well,
and
I'd
con
like to,
committee.
because I'd like to hear what's going on firsthand, I'm not
What
really
she's
into.
asking is, can we make the meetings?
Can you make them later or on a weekend or something
Wow.
totally inconvenient for you?
We're gonna have to work around our schedule, unfortunately, but,
Right.
I think it's ultimately, you know who we are, you know how to get a hold of us, email service or whatever it is. So, more than welcome to come to the meeting, and, yeah, we can try to put it later, but I don't wanna do it
I don't want- yeah.
later on a Friday.
Exactly.
She's got an hour drive, so.
Yeah, me too, hour and a half. Can you email me, I know that you have my email address. Can you email, just notes or whatever?
Yeah,
Oh,
we can just forward John's notes.
That's good, as soon as it works.
Yeah.
Can I give you an email address?
I'd rather just send it to Alan, let he could send it to you.
Okay.
That way I'll just keep my notes.
Yeah, 'cause you know how to reach me.
And it sounds like it'll be on YouTube.
Cool.
I'm confused.
I send all the YouTube connections to all my channels.
So they can see you?
See if
Yeah,
it'll go viral?
I sent the King 5 last night to the family.
Hey, he sent to YouTube out in lieu of Christmas cards.
Oh, okay. Is this thing adjourned so I can turn it off?
Yes, we're adjourned.
My granddaughter